Okay, let's continue in our triggers, and this time we are now in the rows triggers. Suppose you want to insert one row into the log table for each updated employee. For such, we need some examples like 5 employees were going to be updated when you want to insert 5 rows into that log table, so you have a record for each row was been changed. For this such, we need the row trigger. So this row trigger will definitely fires or execute once for before row affected by the triggering DML statement, either just before the row is processed or just after. In 5 employees are in the department, suppose 50, a row trigger associated with the update on the employees table would be execute 5 times, storing 5 rows in the log because of the following DML statement here at the bottom. So we can see the update clause here, update query, SQL update on that particular employee table with the set salary field, which is equal to salary multiplied by 1.1, where the department ID is equal to 0. This will only affect whenever all department will be equal to 50. Right, so let's have this create table in a row trigger, and normally what will happen on this, of course, and every time the salary column in the employees table is updated, the trigger will going to be executed after the update. This should be a spacing of the update operation of the salary column, right? And the trigger inserts a record in the log employee or log emp table, whatever this name is. Oh, this one, I'm sorry. Log underscore emp table underscore table, emp table, right? And this username will going to be stored there for the person who made that update, and the sys date will going to be also be like a timestamp on such update will going to be occurred. So whenever this log emp table table will be assumed to store a log of all salary updates, including who made the updates when it was done. So basically the use case for this trigger is designed for auditing and logging purposes as well. So we know that it allows the system to track when the to whom salary updates were made in the employees table. So for example, if the administrator updates the salary of the employee, this triggers ensures that the change is logged in the log emp table for future references, right? And of course, when the log emp table might be used to keep all the audit trail of the salary changes, ensure transparency and accountability, right? Of course, there are many points to consider as well. This is kind of a row level trigger. This row level trigger that comes with like later like an equivalent for each clauses. And example, you can also modify this one whenever we're using a typical old salary or new salary, or like a modification of the structure of the log m table to include more details if needed, such as the old and new salary values or other than relevant information. We can see here in the next slides, of course, when you're using a row trigger, you can reference and both the old and new column values in the employees. So rows currently being updated, so you use column old column name to reference the pre-updated value, and the new column is mentioned here, post basically just like example. For example, if you going to update a statement changing the employee salary from 10,000 to 11,000, then while the trigger is executing, the old salary has a value of 10,000, but the new salary has a value of 11,000. So it's this information you can now insert the data you need in the login table. So this is just for reference. We can trace it back, the updates, whoever execute that or whoever fired up that particular trigger, right? So this example, of course, we can also see like these triggers typically used on auditing purposes to keep log who updates the employee salary and for those who updated occur. Right now, of course, this one is another example for old and new, and we will going to discuss this one furthermore from our next slide.